Hello, Shalom Aleichem. Today we have a couple of relevant learnings and reading from the Sefer Shema Yisrael by Dov Rosen. Dov Rosen, Shema Yisrael. So let's take a look at it. It's very relevant these days. So now let's take a look. We'll learn a couple of pieces of it. A guide to a deeper appreciation of the Jewish heritage, past and present. Translated from the 4th Hebrew edition by Leonard Ashrei, Volume 2. Dov Rosen, Shema Yisrael. It's a very good book to get. Published, exclusive distribution, Zion Tallis Division. Zion Tallis, that used to be on Eldridge Street, not far from J. Levine Hebrew Book Shop, J. Levine Hebrew Book Company. It's not there anymore, unfortunately. But anyway, let's take a look at this Shema Yisrael. The land of Israel, chapter 72. Whosoever prophesied did so in the Holy Land, or concerning it. Whoever made a prophecy did it in the Holy Land or concerning it. The deserts of Eretz Yisrael preferable to palaces elsewhere. Our rabbis relate, Genesis Rabbah 39:10. When Abraham was traveling through Aram Naharaim and Aram Nahor, he saw its inhabitants eating and drinking and reveling. He exclaimed, "May my portion not be in this country." But when he reached the promontory of Tyre and saw the inhabitants engaged in weeding and hoeing in their proper seasons, he exclaimed, "Would that my portion might be in this country." The Holy One, blessed be He, said to him, Genesis 15:18, "Unto your seed have I given this land." The rabbis have added, it is better to lodge in the deserts of Eretz Yisrael than in palaces elsewhere. The land of the patriarchs. Eretz Yisrael has been called the land of the patriarchs because the Almighty had promised the ancestors of our people, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that he would give the land as an everlasting inheritance to them and to their seed after them. Abraham was told, "For all the land which you see, to you will I give it, and to your seed forever." Genesis 13:15. Arise, walk through the land, in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for unto you will I give it. Hashem is saying, to you, to the descendants of Abraham, will he give it, the land. Ibid, that means there, Genesis 13:15. Isaac, go not down unto Egypt. Dwell in the land of which I shall tell you. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with you and bless you, for unto you and your seed will I give all these lands, and I will establish the oath which I swore unto Abraham your father. That's over there. That's in Genesis 26:2 and 3. That's the second chapter. 26:2 and 3. This is the second and the third Pesukim. And Jacob. So this is what Hashem said to Jacob, to Yaakov. The land wherein you lie, to you will I give it, and to your seed. The land whereon you lie. When he sat down and to rest, and he put the rocks under his head, and the rocks turned into a place for him to have his head. And the land so this was in Eretz Yisrael, the land whereon you lie, to you will I give it, and to your seed. And the land which I give unto Abraham and Isaac, to you will I give it. and to your seed after you will I give the land. Ibid 35:12. Moses, our teacher, was not privileged to enter Eretz Yisrael. He was not privileged to enter Eretz Yisrael. God pointed out its borders to him, as it is written, Deuteronomy 34:1-4. And Moses went out from the plains of Moab onto Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah. That is over against Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land, even Gilad, as far as Dan, and all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah, as far as the hinder sea, and the south and the plain, even the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, as far as Choar. And the Lord said unto him, This is the land which I swore unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, saying, I will give it to your seed. I have caused you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over thither. You shall not go there. Ours by inheritance. In 1967, on the occasion of Ben-Gurion's 80th birthday, the University of California engaged a celebration in honor of the aged statesman. Among the audience was an Arab student who asked Mr. Ben-Gurion, when, after a number of years, you will stand before your Creator and will be asked, what right did you have to drive out the Arabs and to take possession of their property and territory? What will you answer? Ben-Gurion said, I will say to him, you promised this land to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and their seed after them over 4,000 years ago. The Bible is our mandate. In 1937, the British government appointed a royal commission on Palestine, headed by Lord Peel. David Ben-Gurion gave evidence before that commission on the historic right of the Jewish people to Eretz Yisrael, the land, Eretz Israel, the land of their forefathers. He declared, the Bible is our mandate. 10 years earlier, an immigrant confronted by a British immigration official at the Haifa port held up a Hebrew Tanakh and proclaimed, this is my immigration certificate. The Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible. The Peel Commission had been appointed to investigate the situation in Palestine after the 1936 Arab riots. It recommended that Palestine be partitioned into two sectors, one Arab and one Jewish, and that Jerusalem be internationalized, a recommendation which formed the basis for the resolution of the United Nations General Assembly of November 29, 1947, recognizing the existence of a Jewish state in part of Palestine. During the last 40 of the 400 years of Ottoman rule over Palestine, Jews were only allowed to enter Eretz Yisrael by virtue of a red slip, a permit granted at the point of entry to pilgrims wishing to visit the holy shrines. During the 30 years of the British mandatory administration of Palestine, an annual quota of immigration certificates was allotted to Jews. These were issued by British consular representatives to applicants in their countries of origin and allowed them to settle in Eretz Yisrael permanently. Let's see this partition. The partition plan was first bruited by the Peel Commission as the prophet had deplored. Was first bruited by the Peel Commission as the prophet had deplored. Joel 4:2. We'll see what bruited means. We'll try to find out what that means. And they divided my land. And they divided my land. Opinions conflicted on this issue. Some claimed that Jewish sovereignty over part of Eretz Yisrael was preferable to foreign hegemony over the entire country. Others argued that the land as a whole was the inalienable property of all Jews of all generations. It has been promised by the Almighty to our forefathers, and no single generation had been empowered to relinquish possession of any part of it. So no single generation had been empowered to relinquish possession of any part of it. In other words, they should not relinquish any of it. Replying to this argument, Chaim Weizmann, the last pre-state president of the World Zionist Organization and the first president of the State of Israel, argued, "I am very well aware that God promised Eretz Yisrael to the people of Israel, but I do not know the specific borders He demarcated for it. I believe that they extend beyond those that are proposed to us now, and that they certainly included Transjordan. But we have given up the eastern section, Transjordan, and now it is demanded of us that we forego part of the western portion as well. It is in God's power to fulfill His promise to His people in His own time. As for us simple mortals living in different times, we must rescue as much as we possibly can of the remnants of Israel by accepting the partition plan. We shall save more of the land than by continuing to depend upon the policies of the mandatory power." So there's a note, 67, where it came from. The changing borders of the land. The map of Eretz Yisrael has been redrawn 5 times in half a century, i.e., from the Balfour Declaration in 1917 until the Six-Day War in 1967. The first time, Great Britain retracted her original commitment set down in the Balfour Declaration. The territory east of the Jordan was severed from the area reserved for the Jewish national home, and instead the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan was established there. The second time, the map of Israel was changed. The United Nations General Assembly voted on November 29, 1947, by a majority of 33 to 13, with 10 abstentions, to recognize the existence of a Jewish state in part of Western Palestine, and to declare Jerusalem an international city. 35 Jewish settlements were to remain outside the borders of the Jewish state, as it was then envisaged. 35 Jewish settlements were to remain outside the borders of the Jewish state, as it was then envisaged. Jerusalem area, the city itself, Har Tuv, Kfar Uriah, Upper Motza, Lower Motza, Ma'ale HaChamisha, Neve Ilan, Neve Yaakov, Atarot, Kiryat Anavim, Ramat Rachel. The Hebron Hills, Kvar Etzion, Mesuot Yitzchak, Ein Tzurim, Revadim. The southern region, Galon, Gat, Yad, Mordechai, Kfar Darom, Kfar Menachem, Nitzanim, Niriim, Kadma. The northern region, Elon, Chanita, Yechiyim, Kefar, HaChomesh, Matsuva, Nahariya, Hebron, Regba, Shavei Tzion. Northern end, Dead Sea, Bet HaArava. Dead Sea, Bet HaArava. Bet HaArava. Central region, Ben Shemen, Moshav, Ben Shemen, Children's Village. This is the third time it was changed. In 1948, on the day after the state was born, the combined armies of Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq invaded the area allocated to the state of Israel, attempting to strangle it at birth. Established under the fire of the War of Liberation, the Israel Defense Force repulsed the invaders and preserved Jewish control over most Jewish settlements that had been excluded from the state by the boundaries drawn by the United Nations. Among these localities were the cities of Beersheba, Lod, Migdal, now Ashkelon, Nazareth, Acre, and Ramla, where no Jews had lived during the entire period of the mandate. Also, the Israel Defense Forces repulsed the invaders and preserved Jewish control over most Jewish settlements that had been excluded from the state of the boundaries drawn by the United Nations. Among these localities were the cities of Beersheba, Lod, Migdal, now Ashkelon, Nazareth, Acre, and Ramla, where no Jews had lived during the entire period of the mandate. Also not included in the sector region for the Jewish state was Jaffa. It was overrun by Irgun and Haganah forces about 3 weeks prior to the proclamation of the new state. Eilat was included in the map of the Jewish sector, but was cut off from all contact with the state and was uninhabited. Only a year later did it become under Jewish sovereignty. The 12 Jewish settlements were destroyed. 12 Jewish settlements were destroyed in that war. Old Jerusalem, the Jewish quarter. Atarot, north of Jerusalem. Bet Arava, northern area, Dead Sea. Be'erot Yitzchak, near Gaza. Bet Eshel, near Beersheba. Ein Surim, Etzion Block. Kfar Darom, near Gaza. Kfar Etzion Block, Mesuot Yitzchak, Etzion Block, Mishmar HaYarden, near Benot Yaakov Bridge. Neve Yaakov, north of Jerusalem, Ravadim, Etzion Block. The fourth time, in 1956, the Egyptian army closed the Tiran Straits and threatened the security of the Jewish state. Thereupon, the Israeli army routed the Egyptian forces and gained control of the Sinai Peninsula and the Gaza Strip, subjected to severe pressure by the United States of America and the Soviet Union. United this time against Israel, the army was compelled to withdraw from all territory which had been conquered and held for 3 months. The former Israel-Egyptian border became the boundary once more, but was now patrolled by the United Nations Peace Force. The fifth time that the map of Israel was changed. The United Nations peacekeeping force was expelled from the Gaza Strip from Sinai and the Tiran Straits in 1967 by order of President Nasser. He explained then with his own, he replaced them with his own army, and he summoned the Arab world to wipe out the Jewish state and to annihilate its inhabitants. Rallying to his side, the armies of Syria and Jordan placed themselves under his command. As the rabbis have so aptly put it years ago, Gittin 56b, whoever harasses Israel becomes head. The Six-Day War broke out. Miracles occurred for all to behold. Old Jerusalem was liberated and the entire city reunited. The holy places were redeemed. The holy places were redeemed. The Western Wall, Rachel's tomb, and the cave of Machpelah, biblical cities such as Bethlehem, Hebron, Jericho, Gaza, Shechem, etc., reverted to Jewish ownership. The area coming under the control of the State of Israel extended there from the Golan Heights to the north of Sharm el-Sheikh. The area coming under the control of the State of Israel extended from the Golan Heights, that's in the north, to Sharm el-Sheikh in the south. The boundaries almost coinciding with those promised to the patriarchs. Rashi's comments on one of Balaam's prophecies, Numbers 24:9. He crouched, he lay down as a lion, most fittingly described the situation. He crouched, he lay down as a lion. They shall settle in their land with strength and might. Here, this is the 7th. When God will enlarge your territory, the book of Deuteronomy envisages a step-by-step expansion of the territory of Israel. 19:8, book of Deuteronomy, that's Devarim. And when the Lord will enlarge your borders as he has sworn to your fathers and give you all this land, which he promised to give to your fathers. The distinguished Rosh Yeshiva of the Panovich Yeshiva, Rabbi Yosef Kahanman of blessed memory, gave this illustration. Quote, "It followed the same development as the flying balloon. First, an empty balloon was sent aloft. When it was found that the balloon did float in air, an animal was sent up. When that experiment succeeded, a manned balloon was allowed to ascend. Similarly, the Almighty has devised a series of tests for us. He restored part of our land to us. If we prove worthy of the trust placed in us, he will add more territory, and then still more, till the land in its entirety will become ours. In 1948, the nations of the world ratified the establishment of the State of Israel in part of our land. As a result of the War of Liberation, this area became enlarged. The Sinai campaign assured us free passage to the port of Eilat. In the Six-Day War, we extended the area of the land almost to the limit promised us by the Torah. The spiritual center. In his Orot Yisrael, Rav Kook has declared, that's Rav Avraham Yitzchak Cohen Kook, Zatzal, Zecher Tzaddik Livracha. In his Orot Yisrael, Rav Kook has declared, Israel among the nations, Eretz Yisrael among countries, and the Torah of Israel amidst the beliefs and conceptions of mankind. And the Torah of Israel amidst the beliefs and the conceptions of mankind constitute the three nuclei from which eternal life and light radiate, nourishing, elevating, and sanctifying the entire world. Israel, a unique nation, blessed with profound holiness and divine aspirations, radiates its influence to the periphery, to all nations, reviving their national soul and drawing them by its power to ever higher and nobler levels. Eretz Yisrael stands ready to influence all lands by the power of its culture and activities, refreshing and elevating all lands and driving them nearer to the goals of their existence. As for the Torah of Israel, from it a great light will shine forth on all the flocks of the various religious beliefs of peoples and groupings, and remove all dross and worthless admixtures, and illuminate these people with the light of holiness and divine purity. Chapter 5, that's in Orot Yisrael by Rav Kook. A treasure among nations. If you keep my covenant, you shall be my treasure from among all peoples, the chosen people. Our rabbis have stated numbers. That's Numbers, Rabbah 3:8. You will find that the Holy One, blessed be He, created many things in the world, but selected for Himself one out of each group. He created the 7 days, yet selected the Sabbath, as it is said, Genesis 2:3. And God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it. He created the years, yet selected for Himself one of them, as it is said, Leviticus 25:4. Then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. So that's the Shemitah year. He created the years, yet selected for Himself one of them. As it is said, Leviticus 25:4, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. He created the countries, yet selected for Himself one of them, the land of Israel. As it is said, Deuteronomy 1:12, a land which the Lord your God cares for. The eyes of the Lord your God are always upon it. He created all the nations, yet selected for Himself one of them, namely Israel, as it is said, and the Lord has chosen you to be His own treasure. And the Lord has chosen you to be His own treasure. Okay, so we'll make a recording of this. So this is from the book Shema Yisrael by Dov Rosen. A very worthwhile book. Very good book. Take a look at it again. Okay. Thank you very much once again. This book here is a very worthwhile Kedai book. Dov Rosen, Shema Yisrael. Shalom. Thank you very much. Kol Tov.